Okay, One Piece chapter 764. Things just got interesting. Things just got very interesting. So, I really love how the chapter drew towards an end. Where after Corzin goes to all of these different hospitals trying to save Law. And every hospital he goes to, he's having to kick somebody's ass. He's causing damage. Everyone's looking at Law like he's damaged goods. Like, get this kid away from me. No, you get several fucks away from here. Like, it's getting so repetitive, and yet I'm like, wait a second, Oda is just, he's really hammering this home. Like, what's the point for this? Where's he going with this? And so, here's the thing. When you got Corzin, he's sitting on that cliff, looking out at the sea, and he's drinking. He says, what am I doing? After 6 months, by the way. He says, what am I doing? The kid was born into a town of tragedy. And rather than actually fix him in any way, I just forced him to relive the horror over and over. Was it for the sake of the D? Wow. That is tough. That is really, really tough right there. Because it just goes to show, like, the road to hell truly is paved with good intentions. You can mean the world. You can mean the best things in the world. And yet, because you don't have full understanding of the context of what it is you're getting yourself involved in, you end up hurting him. And I guess a good way to put it would be, and I can say this because I'm more comfortable where I'm at now, like where I'm more comfortable in my skin now, because you guys, the older subscribers, and I've talked about this in previous videos very sparingly about how, I underwent assault when I was younger. I don't know what an assault, and it made me dive into a deep corner, where I contemplated suicide when I was about Law's age, actually. And here's the thing. Like, when I did go to therapy, I was in high school when I finally went to therapy. But when I went to therapy, I was 18 years old, getting ready to graduate high school. And I had to talk about everything that happened. And it just broke my mind to a point where I shut down and I stopped going to therapy. And it's because when you make somebody relive something they bottled up for so long, it can either make them come out stronger or it can make them get to a point where they no longer give a fuck. And for Law was very dangerously at that point. He was very dangerously there. And so this next bit of dialogue is so important, so crucial. And he says, no, I don't care about that anymore. You might have stabbed me way back then. And he's got his finger on Law's face. Half of Law's face is just covered up in that white disease. And he says, but it didn't hurt me a bit. And everything is bolded, by the way, in all caps, which it just shows you the level of pain that he's feeling, the emphasis Oda is putting on this moment, with the extreme expressive art where the face is just, the lines of the face are twisted up in agony. You can see the confliction on his face. He's got the tears in his eyes coming down his eyes, down his cheeks, caressing his chin, snot coming out of his nose, and he says, it didn't hurt a bit. That pain was all yours. You poor boy. Oh, Law. And then you have Law just move to tears. And what it shows is that as human beings, something truly special happens when we reach that level of understanding. You can have sympathy for somebody and you can have empathy. But when those two things meet, where it goes from, I don't know what you're going through, but I feel sorry for you, to no, I can relate to what you're going through, and I feel sorry for you as well. When those two things meet, when you can have both empathy and sympathy for somebody, the healing process begins for the person you're trying to help, because they realize they're not alone. And that's what's so beautiful about this moment. That is what is so beautiful about it. What's always blown me away when it comes to Oda. I was very skeptical when I first started even thinking about One Piece because I always thought the artwork was very childish, it was very cartoonish, and Luffy's just this character with this big goofy look on his face, and I already wasn't a fan of pirate stories, and so I was very skeptical. But one thing that's consistently blown me away is the fact that Oda has a very deep understanding of the human psyche. And the fact that this volume is so thick, like volume 77 is thick as hell. Like it's extremely thick. And so that lets me know that this is going to be one of those volumes where shit's about to get real. Because Oda's got extra chapters. Either it's got extra chapters or the chapters are longer. So I mean, this is going to be good, man. This is going to be really good. And so the other thing I really like about this chapter is obviously the bonding that Law had, and because I started my chapter off with this, obviously that's what struck me the hardest. But I like how it gets revealed that Corzin has that calm fruit where he can basically silence everything around him, where nothing gets in, nothing gets out, and so he can speak in silence. And he says like, hey, here's the thing. This is why you can't let my brother know about this Willa D. Like you're all about, trying to become an officer and become a monster, but you don't understand. My brother is inherently evil. And I disagree with that. I don't think Doflamingo is inherently evil, but I think what happens is as a child, when you go through that developmental period, you reach a point where you start taking in the things around you. Doflamingo was probably around some real shitbags. That's just how it is. He was around some real shitbags, and he took that into his personality because that's all he knew. That's why, like in the last chapter, he's like, "You peasants, get me a pistol. How dare you walk in front of me?" Even though he's being tortured, his father is begging for him to take his arrows because he says his children are innocent, which is true. They're not directly responsible for the pain and suffering of these people. And yet at the same time, Doflamingo's like, I'll survive anything you throw at me. I'm going to hunt down every last one of you bastards. It's just a stark contrast. Like the father pointed out, he says like, hey, like we say we're celestial dragons, but we're really humans. And then they talk about being human as if it's a bad thing. And yet when you look at the brother, he's more like the father. And so now you really see this tap dance where it's going, to where these two are going to be crossing swords at some point. You see where the betrayal's coming. And I like how Corzin is like, hey, I'm here to make sure I can stop my brother. I'm the only one who really understands his true nature. I'm the only one who really understands it. And it explains why he's working with the Navy. But while he's doing that, Doflamingo has a guy who's in the Navy. Like it's a chess game. And because we already know the end result, because he's not in Dressrosa right now. He's not there. He's dead. So we already know who loses the game. It's just a matter of seeing how we got here. But, I mean, I like how Oda is telling the story of Law while also telling the story of Doflamingo, and he's showing the fall from grace for both of these characters, but he's using a third character who we knew nothing about. And so we're seeing the world through that character's perspective. And they're the emphasis of the chapter, and it just adds something special to the narrative. It's something that, one of my mentors, Courtney, always used to say, right? She used to always say this in Shirt My Rank. She says, anytime you get to a point where you have a character, or excuse me, you get to a point where your story not so much feels like it's dragging, but you have a exposition, or you have something you want to introduce, but you want to switch it up for your readers to keep them engaged, introduce a new character they know nothing about. It gives you so much to play with. It gives you so much freedom to tell the story you want to tell without tying yourself down completely to previous stories elements you put in. You can still write within the framework of the story, but this new character allows you to bend and break laws. And so I really like what Oda did here. I mean, at the end of the day, like, this is brilliant writing. So I want to know from you guys. What are your thoughts on what we've gotten so far? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.